Okay, so we just talked about neurons. The other main cell type in the nervous system is the glial cells, or the glia. Okay, so this is a diagram of the types of glia that we can find in the central nervous system. I don't expect you to know the names of all these types and all the functions, but what I want you to really get out of this is like just sort of a sense of what glial cells do. Okay, so historically, we sort of thought of glial cells as like kind of the like a sidekick sort of cell type in the nervous system. And we thought that they were mainly just there for structural support, but it's becoming more and more apparent that they have like very interesting and very important roles in nervous system function. So here are some of the functions of glial cells. So we have these ependymal cells that are going to form barriers between compartments. They're going to make new neurons. Astrocytes are going to do all these things. They're going to basically regulate the ion balance around the neurons. They're going to help form the blood-brain barrier, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. They're going to help with ATP production. They're going to do things to help the health of the neuron. That's what a neurotrophic factor does. And then we've got these guys, microglia, that are kind of like the janitors of the nervous system. So they go around kind of picking up just crap. Okay. These are the glia of the peripheral nervous system. I just realized you don't yet know like central versus peripheral nervous system, but that's okay. So we've got Schwann cells and satellite cells. They're going to support cell bodies. These guys are going to secrete neurotrophic factors, which help with neuron health. Okay. And I do want to point this out right here. So even though neurons are kind of the star of the show, and we in this class are also going to be just mostly focusing on neurons, I do want to point out that there's a lot more glia in the body than there are neurons. So they outnumber neurons at least 10 to 1. Okay. What I want to do now is I do want to focus on these two cell types right here, or these two glial cell types right here, the oligodendrocytes and the Schwann cells, because they perform this critical function of forming myelin sheaths around the axons of neurons. Okay, so let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Okay. So actually, I think starting from the right here maybe is a better way to approach this. But what you're looking at here is a neuron with its cell body and its axon, okay? And along the axon of some but not all neurons in the body, we have these what are called myelin sheaths. They're these multiple layers of cell membrane, okay? And the way that those layers of cell membrane get there is that we have Schwann cells or oligodendrocytes wrapping themselves around and around and around the axon many, 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 many times. Okay, so this is, sorry, I forgot to orient you here, but this is basically a cross section, right? So if you like took a knife and cut through like right here, you would get something that looks like this. So here's the axon right here, and then you've got the Schwann cell wrapped around the axon of the neuron many times, okay? So we have this myelin sheath here, and it is interrupted by these little spaces called nodes of Ranvier, okay? So they're these sections of unmyelinated axon membrane between two Schwann cells, right? So the Schwann cell is going to wrap around, and then you're going to get a little space there, and then you're going to have another Schwann cell wrapping around, and so on, okay? So Schwann cells are found in the peripheral nervous system, which I know we haven't yet gone over the like organization of the nervous system, but the peripheral nervous system is anything besides the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, so outside of the brain and the spinal cord, we will find Schwann cells making these myelin sheaths. Right, I forgot to do that. Okay. This is a diagram of the myelin sheaths that are formed by oligodendrocytes. So the way an oligodendrocyte works, it is also going to form myelin sheaths around axons of neurons, but instead of one cell, one like the whole Schwann cell wrapping around one axon, what it's going to do is we have this oligodendrocyte cell body here, okay? And that cell body is going to send out extensions that then wrap around the axons of multiple neurons, okay? And so we find these in the central nervous system, in the spinal cord or in the brain, okay? Oh, I forgot to say this, but what is the significance of the myelin sheath? We'll go into this in much greater detail later, but suffice it to say at this point, the myelin sheath helps neurons conduct their signals more quickly, okay? All right, so that basically wraps up our introduction to the cell types of the nervous system. Here are your learning goals, pretty straightforward. And then here's your vocabulary. So basically all the parts of the cells and so on.